Welcome back to Switch to Linux. And today we want to have a look at the MX Linux beta, which has come out a couple weeks ago from based on the new Debian 13. And MX Linux is one of the distros that I do recommend, one of the top distros. And to be honest, it is such a good distribution. Now, I use MX Linux on my Raspberry Pi for my web design work, since I can't run Linux Mint on a Raspberry Pi, and MX Linux does make that available. And ultimately over there, I run that on a Raspberry Pi 5. I run the Cinnamon desktop, which is my favorite desktop, and I have a whole video about that. So this one today is just going to be looking at some basics on Linux Mint, a little bit about the beta and how our system setup is here. We did a lot of testing this morning. Especially I wanted to test the memory release because one of our supporters who's been experimenting with Debian 13 and LMDE7, also based on Debian 13, has had major issues with the memory not releasing when applications are closed. So I did actually run a lot of different applications on this. In fact, you can still see I still have LibreWolf running. I still have GIMP running. And honestly, it's been, every time I close a program, I just see the memory just instantly clear. So I don't know what the issue happens to be, and maybe it's a system setup, whatever else. This is installed on real hardware. You can see this is running on my MSI laptop, and just looking at the information here as far as the system specs, we're down here, the CPU, 12th gen i7, and we have integrated Intel Iris Xenographics and 16 gigs of RAM in here. You can see there's 4 gigs of swap set up as a swap file that's not being used. And this is a fairly small hard drive I use for testing distributions. And overall, though, you can see everything else over here. So we'll go ahead and close that out and just kind of walk through the initial release notes and things like that. Now, one of the good things about MX Linux is they do cater, if you're one of the crowd that says, I really don't like systemd, they do have several versions without systemd. So you can download under the XFCE. The beta one here is systemd, but the sysvint one, this one here is the sysv initialization system instead of your systemd. We also have the advanced hardware support, which allows you to support maybe newer hardware that Debian doesn't generally support. And again, we have that with systemd or without. We have a Plasma version and we have a Fluxbox version as well. They do also release Raspberry Pi versions. I don't see that in this one here. So having a look over here, just to tell you the basics here, we have the Linux kernel 6.12, which we saw in our system specs at the beginning of the video. That's what we're running. The advanced hardware support runs 6.15 Liquorix kernels instead. So they do have the Antix Live system modified to work better with systemd. So if that was been an issue in the past, that should be resolved. And then a lot of it's just updated the software to replace the older software with the newer software and things. They do have under the KDE Plasma, Wayland is the default session with X still available. So if you are looking for things like that, you can do that. You just saw the notification up there. My Bluetooth speaker I was testing wasn't no volume going through it, so my Bluetooth speaker just shut off. We'll test that again in a minute. We'll see if it just turns itself back, if it reconnects itself. It did last time, so we'll see. I'm talking about that a little bit later here in the video. So let's see. There's a few known issues. Fluxbox doesn't always show the installer, and other than that, there's been some UI changes. Might be a few little bugs here and there. Now, MX Linux, if you are new to it, this is a very, very solid, robust Debian-based system that has just, I gotta say, the stuff that they put into this is quite incredible. They have an entire panel of tools which are specific to MX Linux here, which allows you to do anything from fixing the boot if it goes weird. You can even, they even have down here a UEFI manager. So this is one of the few distributions in the GUI with a pre-installed tool. You can actually manually edit your UEFI boot sectors. It is quite incredible. Walking through this, we have a live USB maker, so you can create a, what this does is it's going to create a, you can basically just create any readable ISO. So this is a good one to keep around if you just need a good distro that has a burner on it. You can do that. The other thing, though, you can do is you can do a snapshot, which is going to create a clone of your current functioning system that you can use to deploy. So that means you could set up MX Linux as as a basic workstation. If you need to do it on like 5 or 6 different computers, you set up one computer, set it up exactly the way you want, get all your configurations, everything, clone the thing, and then you can just simply redeploy that clone across every other system. Then we just have so many different things in here. So here's a Samba. I should have actually turned my server on to test that out. I was playing with that last night because Auto Discover used to work, but Auto Discover was kind of removed when the old insecurities and old Samba. So I didn't actually know that until last night, which just probably explains why none of my computers has my network shares automatically showing up. Not a big deal for me, but I believe I can go into here and I can create the server shares. I know some of my computers, I've manually created those, so it's much easier to access. Then we have, Conky, that is this guy over here. It tells us your CPU and memory usage and things like that. You can turn that on, turn that off. You can manage it, adjust it. If you are running NVIDIA, we have NVIDIA driver installers over there. So you can look through the entire list of tools here, and they just have a lot of really good, really nice tools. There is an updater. It does not automatically update by default, as far as I know anyway. But if this box over here turns green, then there is an update available. And you can see I installed it last night and I ran updates last night, and I didn't see any. So this will actually load up Synaptic and check for system updates. So that is good. As far as other pre-installed software, in addition to the tools, they do have a full suite of applications. So it's a disk use analyzer. We have Archive Manager. We have FeatherPad. I actually believe we have FeatherPad. I think we also might have, we also have a Genie on here. So, some people might say there's a little too many applications. Having 2 text editors could be a turnoff for some people. So that is one of the maybe criticisms, is they might even have a little bit too much information. We do have a lot of good GUI tools, like a GTK hash application, so you can check hashes of files and things like that. And you can see there's a lot of other tools. We also have 2 different task managers. We have this task manager, but we also have HTOP. So again, we do have multiple applications which can show multiple applications there, meaning that there is a little bit of overlap. So that might be a criticism some people might have. Here's games. Actually, I was just looking at this just to try and get some time. This is a much more beautiful version of Mahjong than I've ever remember seeing before, but not that I've booted Mahjong in a long time. I did install GIMP for just for testing purposes. Basically, I was trying to max out the memory in this thing, and I was finding it difficult to do. We have LibreOffice over there. I also installed LibreWolf. And here's what's neat about this is one of the few distributions that has a lot of applications like LibreWolf and Brave and a lot of these other niche browsers and applications that you can install without having to use the Flatpak. So if you're like, I hate Flatpaks, but I want to use LibreWolf, MX Linux has you covered. It is available in their repository. And so I'll show you the software installer here in a little bit. As far as multimedia, we have a CD Ripper. We have ALSA audio mixer. We have a webcam capture. Oh, really? We have GCV. Oh, okay. I didn't know we actually had that installed. I installed Simple Screen Recorder since this is running on X. Simple Screen Recorder works, so I'm recording this with Simple Screen Recorder. We have VLC. We have Strawberry. And let's see, MX Tools. This is all of those tools we just saw in simple access on the menu. We have the full suite of LibreOffice here, including the databasing. We have Foliate for ebook reading. We have a calendar. We have PDF Arranger, which is an excellent PDF tool. I use that quite a bit for my writing and such. And then there's a number of different settings, the basic settings that you would expect to find inside of any XFCE settings panel. Those are also available all right here in the settings. So as far as the theming out of the box, I'm not a fan of the panel on the side. One of the first things I always do when I install a new MX Linux is I just move the panel to the bottom, which is my personal preference. But other than that, you can see just pulling anything up. The styling on MX Linux is beautiful out of the box. Which is one of the few desktops or one of the few distros rather that makes a really good, solid, beautiful looking theme out of XFCE, which is kind of hard to do. As far as that, looking at the software management, one of the tools inside of the MX Linux is the MX Linux Package Manager. This is not like super user friendly as far as the beautiful colors all over, like gnome plasters unicorns and rainbows all over it, which is kind of nonsense. The Pop OS is really good software store. We looked at that one the other day, of course, when it's populating its software. We talked about that issue I had. Other people said they didn't have that issue. I don't know what was wrong with my system. Then we also, Linux Mints is really nice. Actually really like Elementary OS's software store. One of the few things I like about that distro, but it is really beautiful, really good. This one, it doesn't have that beautiful luster and the beautiful shine, but my golly, this is a very, very functional installer, and I'm going to walk through why. First, we have just your basic applications here available. So you pull each of these guys down, and this is where you can actually see we installed LibreWolf. This is in a repository. This is not installing a Flatpak. Let me just pull up a terminal here and do a Flatpak list, and you'll see that LibreWolf is not a Flatpak, and it is installed on the system. What it does is it installs a repository. They have a repository for it. When you click this, it adds the repository to the repo, and then it actually adds it to be managed just like any other application on your computer. They do the same for Brave. They do the same for Google Chrome. They do the same for Edge. I'm not sure why you want to use those too. But hey, for those people that really, really love that Microsoft experience, you can put Edge on your MX Linux. So you do have options. Here's our children's applications. Now, this is not a full suite of absolutely everything. In fact, as I look at this right now, I'm trying to remember, did my MX Linux actually have the ability to install Cinnamon, or did I do that manually? Because I know I'm running Cinnamon. I might have installed it manually. Check the video. I think I did talk about installing Cinnamon on that when I built it, but I can't remember. So you can see that we have just a lot of different options inside of here. And these are all basically installing on the repository software. So there is a lot of stuff that you can find down here when you're looking for software. But we also have a lot of other tools. This is a repo manager. So this just shows you all applications through all available repositories. This is the test repo. So these are provided for testing purposes. It's possible they might break the system. So, back up your system before trying to install these. But there are a lot of applications in here that, so what you're seeing here is that it says installed. It probably means that there is a higher version or a testing version of those. I'm not totally sure why everything in here says it's installed. We also have Debian backports. So this is pulling Debian packages out of, I think that pulls out of SID, I think. It's the upcoming testing packages for Debian. So if you need a newer package that is available, you can probably grab the newer package from here rather than the repository. Let me just have a brief look here. So there's GIMP, and I want to see what version of GIMP I actually have installed. Because I do know that when you use the Debian pack ports, like at 304, so 304, let me see if we can narrow in and get any more detail about it. Now it's just telling us 304. So that's actually good. We have GIMP 3 on this. The Debian pack ports, though, will give us newer versions of applications. And we also have Flatpaks here. So these are, if you do want those Flatpaks, you can come over here. So let me look. Here's Flat Seal. That's one I test on Flatpaks because it's only available as a Flatpak. And then you can see that we have FlatHub and we have FlatHub verified. So if I search over here for Chrome, for example, I will find FlatHub here. But if I go to verified, I should not find Chrome because Chrome is not actually a verified Flatpak for weird reasons having to do with the craziness of Flatpak's weird verification system. Even though it's put together by Google employees at Google, it's not actually verified. Go figure. But you can see, what is butt? That stinks. All right. You can see, though, this software installer is actually very good. It allows you to go in quickly, install applications. So if I just wanted to install a bunch of things, let's say, okay, let's do Evolution. Let's do, I do FileZilla for stuff under development. Let's see. I don't see Bluefish here. Let me see if Bluefish is in here. So it's not there, but I'm guessing that's going to be over in my enabled repos. Bluefish will be available. I promise you that. Let me check over here. You see, I can install Bluefish from over here. So this is note just popular applications. Okay, so just keep note of that. Let me recheck Evolution. We'll recheck my FileZilla. And let's see if there's anything else I want to install. We'll just install my Best Buddy Cody, just because, for the meme factor, I guess. I just won't talk about it. So once you do that, you'll see it's going to go over here. It's going to effectively run the code in this box here. It's going to read the package lists. You'll see there that when it's checking the repos, you'll see that it has a LibreWolf repo. That's because we've already installed it. So it needs to get 65 megabytes of data, and you can see you click on that. It's just going out, grabbing all the information, and it's going to run through a simple installer. So we're going to let that do its thing. And as far as testing the system out, I've been using this on my Wi-Fi perfectly fine. So the FBI surveillance van, you can see that we have the ability to easily add a lot of different type of VPNs here. So OpenVPN, I can import a saved configuration file. So if you have a VPN, you can usually get an OpenVPN, an OPVN file, I think it is, and you can literally hit this and import that in. And you can do all that and set up your VPNs super simple. That's of course becoming a big thing. If you're in many states, United States, you need to prove to them that you're somewhere else. That's might be the way to go. I also want to test Bluetooth because one of our supporters was having problems with Bluetooth on Debian, and he said he had to install extra packages. There were some packages that weren't there. I was able to get this, and in testing for my video this time, I came prepared. I actually brought out my Bluetooth speaker. So you can see right there, and it automatically connected. So for people having issues with Linux automatically reconnecting to trusted devices, that works out of the box. So this is one. Okay, our software is finished. We'll just do that. So what you did to do this is you come over here and you hit the search button, and then it will show up. Of course, you start your pairing. And then when this showed up, you had to do two things. The first is there was another option. It says key option, which allows you to create a pairing with the device. The other one you want to do is you want to hit this checkbox to trust this as mark it as a trusted device. And it is that allows it to automatically reconnect to the device as soon as it's turned on. So now that I have simply came in and just turned the speaker back on with Bluetooth, it automatically connected my Bluetooth speaker, which is quite handy because the other audio system on this system is not quite as good. So I wanted to go ahead and test out that feature. And so there is what the Bluetooth is working just fine. The wireless is working just fine. And let's have a look at our power stuff over here. So let's look at these. So when the power button is pressed, sleep button is pressed. So one of the things we don't necessarily get is we don't get a lot of your newer things like your power performance and all this. But you can actually go in and you can set different settings in here based on if you're plugged in or on battery. So it's not as up to date as everything is. You'll also notice here that it is detecting all of the batteries of all of our devices. So this is our Bluetooth speaker, our keyboard, this is the battery, and it is detecting that we are plugged into the wall. In my case, I'm plugged into my fan's house batteries. So there is our power management system. That works out really well as well. Now, the last thing I did kind of want to mention is, as I said, a friend of mine was testing out Debian and was having a lot of memory issues. And so I really tried to push this thing along. And I pulled up Firefox and installed several YouTube videos. I loaded up GIMP. I loaded up... I should have actually tried to do something in GIMP. I don't know. Let's just create a new image and do something like that. Sure. Let's just... okay. So I was just trying to basically get as much stuff running so that I could stress the memory and see, did we have the same problems of memory not releasing? Because that's what my friend was saying on Debian, is that memory was not releasing properly. So you can see here, I just pushed the thing up to 3.6 gig. But as I'm dropping applications, you'll see it is properly letting go of all of the memory. So I'll have to find out details from him and see if there was something else I could be doing. Is it an issue on his hardware, or is MX Linux solved the problem and nobody else in Debian has done, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. So there's my look at MX Linux and all these reasons I showed you here today. This is why this is one of my favorites. Why is it not my absolute favorite? Well, I still do like Linux Mint. I still absolutely love the Cinnamon desktop environment. It's definitely my favorite. And I think that while this has a lot of really, really amazing tools, I think that it also is that the tools are not as easy, as intuitive, or as GUI for a brand new user to Linux. And for that reason, I do think that Linux Mint is still a slightly better choice for new users to Linux. But I think MX Linux is definitely one of the top. Of course, if you want to help support the channel, you can have a look over at the website at switchedtolinux.com. We do have Patreon, Local, Subscribestar, LibrePay, and we do have a bunch of affiliates over there as well. We do have a statement on affiliates. I'm not a fan of pushing affiliates just because. In fact, some of these I might even want to review and consider taking out. But ultimately, I do use affiliates that I actually trust to the companies, and so that is certainly something if you want to help support the channel. We do have merch over there at shop.switchedtolinux.com. So there is our take on MX Linux. Let me know your thoughts on MX Linux and other Linux distributions in the comments down below.